I've been wanting to do a short stroke bolt stop for a couple years, and the first thing that you guys told me about the action was that it's an option, right? So those guys had already thought of that, and I thought that was pretty cool, and I didn't really know what to think about the 75-degree bolt throw. Um, um, I didn't really think that it would be as much of an advantage as it's turned out to be for me. Is what I found is I took it out to the mountains and I shot it back to back with my old stuff, and I'm a pretty slow shooter as it is, so I time out a lot, and any advantage in the speed department I can get is good, and my practice times were faster, not a lot faster, but a little bit faster, so that was kind of interesting. And then the other thing I figured out was that just the difference between the 75-degree and the short stroke keeps me from having to move my shoulder when I run the bolt. So I shoulder my rifle kind of more towards the center of my chest. But if I'm having to run a 90-degree bolt up and back, I'm using my wrist and my elbow and my shoulder. That's supporting the rifle. So by minimizing that movement, that bad action, I'm able to run the bolt with the dasher with just my wrist and elbow. So it's been, it's a small detail, but man, it's that's been pretty cool. I like that aspect of it a lot.
But I got it. Figure it out.
Everybody, this is the Shoot to Hunt podcast, and my name, you all know it, is Ryan Avery, and my co-host here is Mr.
It's Jake.
You mean Mushaney?
No, it's Mushaney.
Oh,
We've
it's
been over this.
Mushaney.
We've been over this.
Damn it!
You need to take those damn Crocs off
Yes.
and wear some real man's shoes.
Wow, you're aggressive today, Mr. Mushaney.
My T levels are currently pushing 3,000 right now.
Holy crap!
Yes, my beard is down to my knees. Yes,
Your veins, they're flowing!
they're flowing, and I must be at 5,000 by the end of the year.
You're going crazy!
Well, the Crocs are thinking this every time you get in them. How fat is your ass?
Really?
Fat, round, and ready for this podcast, my friend.
Let's jump into it.
Let's go.
It is a little long-winded.
Yeah, we gotta
We're
get
gonna
it.
have to fucking give them a time frame.
We got to cut that down to like 20 seconds. It's a little long.
How long is that shit?
Like 50 seconds.
Good Lord.
Yeah. Our creative team, Corson, is a little too creative sometimes. We got a ringer on the show today. Me and Jake shot the Night Force ELR Steel Challenge last year as a team, and we shot okay. We took 13th.
Shit, I performed flawlessly.
Wow.
I just didn't have a very good partner.
Oh my. I think, yeah, I'll let you have that one. I remember some very good wind holds on the wrong
That's
side.
right. But I will say this: who was responsible for calling the wind?
Me, but I can't fucking tell you where you hold your reticle when you pull the trigger.
That has to be part of the instruction. It has to be. How are we gonna say? Hold 3 mils left. Make sure you're on the right side of the reticle.
So we decided we want to upgrade from 13th to be in the top 5. So we pulled in a ringer to help us along the way. But I do have a question for you, Mr. Corson Piper, about, do you know, we had a podcast last week and I've heard more shit about me and Jake didn't know what spire point means.
Spitzer.
Spitzer point. Do you know what Spitzer point means?
I think Spire is even another point.
Spitzer. Sorry.
Well, I'm not real sure. I think Spitzer's like kind of half a boat tail, ain't it?
So it means pointy.
We literally had somebody message it, and he was like, "I can't believe you."
No, four people.
I replied to him too.
There's 4 people now.
I said because nobody uses that term
and
anymore.
I'm like, fuck, I don't know. If you go back to our first podcast, it says I don't fucking know anything. I don't even know why you listen to this fucking podcast. But this guy, we had one guy, and then it kind of cartwheeled into like 3 guys bitching that, you know, they're fuds. They're fucking, they're the old guys that used to walk around with spear grand slam, lead point bullets in there.
Yeah, I mean, don't take it personally. We just don't use that term
And we
anymore.
don't know it all.
And Corson
said
here's Corson, badass competition shooter, shoots more bullets than any of us do, and he didn't know what Spitzer was.
Spitzer.
Fucking
I
Spitzer.
guarantee I don't have a Spitzer bullet in here. But there's a lot of them that are pretty pointy, so I don't know.
Yeah, I just find it funny that what people will hook onto and aha, we got you. Like I said, we don't know lots of shit. We do know some things, but we don't know a lot.
It's actually additionally funny because we like to stir the shit. Like, even if we'll take a term that we should know and just, oh yeah, I don't know what that means.
Like I said, we're all fucking reaching for straws on some things.
And it's late. It's like 5:30 p.m. after a long day at work, and
me and Jake are both sick, and Jake goes to bed at 6 o'clock.
Both
so it should
sick,
be fun.
and both day one of the carnivore diet. Day one today of 90 days. We gotta complete 90 days of this shit.
Yeah, it's gonna be a long 90 days, Corson. We might not make it.
That's why we podcasted with Lampers earlier. He's the one that challenged us to it.
Nothing but meat for 90 days, huh?
Fucking
animal based, so a little bit of eggs. You can kind of get like milk and a little bit of dairy, but mostly, just fucking meat,
eggs, and salt. Like, my coffee was heavy cream with. I usually get 5 shots of espresso with like some sweetener and shit on it, but now it's just heavy cream.
All right, so getting into you, can you kind of take us through the history of what you started shooting comps and kind of bring us up to date to today?
Sure. Yeah, I started shooting the end of 2017. I think I shot a couple matches, and then got into it pretty serious in 2018. Shooting a bunch of regional stuff and the Rifleman's Team Challenge series. Been shooting a lot, shot a lot of that, and then I think I won my first match in 2019. I won the Sniper's Hide Cup in the individual category there, and then let's see, 2021, I won the regional finale, Rocky Mountain and Northwest regional finale, PRS. In 2022, I won the regional finale and the overall championship. Rifleman's Team Challenge finale, me and my teammate Nathan Dykstra won that one in 22. ELR Night Forces match, that was 2022. Didn't do so hot there last year, but turns out you got to do your homework to do well. So, and then last year there was the Great Basin ELR series was going on. That was a new one just east of Bend, Oregon. So I shot some of those matches and won that championship last year.
The Night Force ELR in 2022. What do you think are some of the main pointers there that kind of came together for you to win that match over the 2 days? Like, is there anything that stands out in your mind that maybe you did a little differently than last year?
Yeah, I mean, I came in prepared.
What does that mean?
Break it down for us.
So I've seen a lot of people go to that match and come back with gear failures. I don't, and my personal opinion on it, shooting a lot of PRS. There's a lot of people across the country that are putting 100 to 150 rounds a day down a PRS rig. So if you have a piece of equipment that doesn't hold up to that type of competition, it gets weeded out really quickly. But I don't know a lot of guys that'll go out and put 80 rounds of a big Magnum downrange every day, right? So that's what I did. I shot a lot and shot a lot of 300 Norma. Yeah, I don't know. I just had a good time. There was really no expectations there. First time shooting it. I remember when the series started. Scott Satterley's from my area, kind of. So I got to hear a lot about what they were doing when it was back at Q Creek. but there's also a national match on this side of the country at the same time. So it's tough to drive 18 hours when you can drive 6 and shoot a good match. So,
So really,
Yeah.
so practice beforehand and rounds down the tube prior to the competition, you think really stood out as the reason?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, you got to know what your gun's going to do. You're burning a lot of powder, right? So you got to know what your gun's going to do. After, what's your velocity going to do once you got 80 normal rounds down a barrel, right?
Mm.
What's and other stuff. So
300
I
normal
didn't
both years?
think different than what I usually do. It's just last year I was pretty busy at that time, and I figured that like, oh shit, I shot pretty good and I won it, so let's just put we'll just put the same powder charge in some cases, and we'll go do it again. And it turns out that that you can't really half-ass it if you want to go in.
And it was 300 normal both years?
Yep.
Improved?
No.
Which bullet?
258 tips.
Both years, huh?
Yep.
All right.
What's the scope you're running?
I run Collis scopes.
So it's a K525.
5 to 25. Yep. I shoot the 5 to 25 DLR on my PRS rigs with a 10 mil turret. But I run the older one with a 16 mil turret on my ELR rig.
They come out with something new this year, isn't it?
It's even more.
Yeah. I'm excited to get my hands on one. Haven't seen it yet, but another 5 mils of elevation evidently. So I'm excited to put that on a big gun for sure.
And bigger field of view, isn't that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, they're saying 14% or something like that. And I don't know. I'm already pretty impressed. So we'll see what it looks
Yeah, I
like.
glanced through it at the SHOT Show. It looked enormous. You're inside though; it's hard to see.
Yeah.
So take us through like your setup as far as I've never shot an ELR match till last year, and I was kind of I've taken my hunting stuff. I've been to a few like Vortex challenges, but the setups you guys had versus what we had were vastly different. You guys are serious. Can you guys take it through your setup and your buddy's setup with the big wind vane? And there was also a lot more ranging. I thought, okay, these are known distances. I don't have to range them, but you guys have a system where you're ranging everything. Can you kind of take us through that?
Yeah. I always range everything. That's free points right there. And then, the further the distance, the more important it is.
So what rangefinder are you using?
I'm using a Vectronics Plurf 25C is what I'm using. I think it's probably overkill.
Kill birds with that thing.
But I've seen some discrepancies between rangefinders. Even my rangefinder, it's typically 4 yards further than most everybody's that ranges a target. And if that's part of your kit, and I've trued my dope to the ranges that I get with my rangefinder, and then I range the target with my rangefinder, then it's all good. It doesn't really matter who's right or wrong as long as the bullet goes where I want it to, right?
Do you see big discrepancies?
Not big discrepancies, but at 2,000 yards, if I can get closer to the target, to the center of the target, then that's better, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So can you take us through like the system you're using and the ones with the weather vane and all that?
Like the spotting scope and the weather vane and like the platform. Like we don't know shit about all that. The bigger tripods, we don't own any of those.
Yeah. So I run a Really Right Stuff TVC 43. So that's the biggest, one of the bigger tripods that they make, and I don't think that they make it anymore. I've been trying to get them to bring it back, but it's that thing doesn't really move in the wind. I hang my backpack off of it, and I run a STR 80 Swarovski spotting scope. It's got a mil reticle in it that I can turn off and on, so that helps out quite a bit.
Is that what you got?
Yep.
And then and then my rangefinder, and that's pretty much it. You guys were talking about Dan Benner's wind vane. Made that before the ELR match last year. He chopped the leg of an old tripod off and made it collapsible, and And I think I'm gonna have to do something like that. I ended up looking at that quite a bit. So it was a pretty good idea.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was easy to, we're at the location, at our station. It was easy to see what the wind was doing just by looking up at that. I would have never thought about doing that.
Yep. It looks kind of funny until you realize that you're using it more often than not. And then,
it was just wind direction, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And then you shoot a lot of PRS. So going to those, but mostly belly shooting, pretty much all belly shooting on the ELR stuff compared to the PRS stuff. How, outside of your weapon system, which is probably a whole lot smaller caliber, what changes for you in those events?
not a whole lot for me. Target acquisition, still target acquisition. So there's, being used to finding landmarks, and getting on target quickly is just a skill, right? So, my gun weighs a couple, my ELR rig, my Norma, it, got a little bit different bipod. I run an Elite Iron bipod, from Dale Poling. That thing's pretty sweet. And then that's about it. I mean, I still run a Masterpiece Arms chassis. Gun weighs about 25.5 pounds, 31-inch barrel. And yeah, I mean, that's about it. Even my 22 long rifle is set up. When I get behind it, it feels just like my ELR gun or my PRS guns. I'm kind of picky that way.
How much does the 300 Norma weigh?
About 25.5 pounds.
Do you notice like any difference, obviously, in the 6mm? I mean, do you notice when you're on the ground, the recoil, the blast, or anything?
I mean, it pushes a little bit more, but
Gotcha.
But that's about it. I mean, you got to shoulder the gun just like you would any other one.
It was suppressed or brake?
Muzzle brake.
Oh.
Yeah.
So when you're like getting down, it's like you kind of get to, I don't know the PRS at all. Are you, because there's a lot of little games being played when you're, some of the groups talk, some of the groups don't at the ELR. And you notice some people are watching the impacts and seeing what the wind's doing on the impacts. I guess the thing is, like, compared to PRS, like I heard it's a little more clicky. I've never done it. It's a little more clicky, but the ELR seems a whole lot more chatty. Is that generally how it works?
Enhance your shooting experience with Stocky Stocks. Are you tired of struggling with mediocre rifle stocks that hinder your performance? Imagine having a high-quality rifle stock that not only enhances your accuracy, but also provides superior strength and a lightweight build. Stocky Stocks offers a wide range of premium rifle stocks manufactured with hand layup carbon fiber construction, a patented carbon fiber AccuBlock, and multiple finish options. Whether you're a long-range shooter or a hunting enthusiast, our stocks are perfect for you. Experience unmatched precision and durability with Stocky Stocks. We provide stock installation instructions, technical support, and guidance to help you choose the right stock for your rifle. Upgrade your shooting game today with Stocky Stocks.
I think you can see the same, the same wind talk in both types of matches.
Gotcha.
Right. There's definitely some of that going on. Kind of sanity checking, kind of what you think, with your buddies, right? It's always nice, a little boost of confidence. When what you think is going on downrange is what your buddy just saw or whatever.
How often do you tell people the wrong one just to fuck with them?
It's funny you say that. I've never done it. My brain is not. I've got so much stuff. Like I'm just trying to hold it together when I'm shooting. So I'm not smart enough to come up with fibs and lies and screw with people like that. But,
Me neither.
I saw some of that down in Texas. I'd be watching a stage, watching guys shoot, and one guy would come off and he'd tell one guy some wind, and then that guy would go up and start shooting, and then he'd go over and he'd tell his other buddy some different wind. Some ruthless stuff going on.
I did see you get riled up with the guy on the last stage. You remember the last stage? You're getting pretty.
It was stage 1.
Yeah,
it just ended up being our last stage of, what was it, 20?
Yep. And
but yeah, that dude was not fucking spotting misses and impacts very well.
You were not happy with the RO at stage 1, last one for us on the Night Force ELR. I thought that was interesting because I believe you were right. Like he was not doing a great job at his job. I don't know if he was done and over it, but he wasn't. And he hate to bash on ROs, but he was doing a very poor job then.
Yeah. Well, I think we heard other people had been complaining about him
Yes.
during the fucking competition too. It wasn't just us.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
Let's see if he remembers it. You remember that specific? You remember that one?
I absolutely remember it. I spend quite a bit of time behind a spotting scope and glass, usually I'm pretty good at seeing what goes on downrange. But yeah, that was interesting. He's like, "Oh man, you guys, I know what I saw. People have been telling me this all weekend."
No shit. All right.
I bet they have.
I've seen some really weird misses and impacts. There's a particular dude on Instagram. Sometimes he'll send a round down range and he'll say, was it a hit or was it an impact based on what you see? And it can look really different, between an impact and a miss.
Yeah, like right when they hit the edge of the target, it looks like you missed to the left.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it happens a lot.
Yeah, especially at those long distances.
So are you
I
like,
didn't
go ahead.
enough for it to matter anyway.
Yeah.
That was the good news.
Like how far in, like how many stages in do you know you're kind of fucked last year?
Man, I don't know. I got no idea. I mean, I think I ended up at mid 30s or something, 32, 38. I don't know. I was having some elevation issues. So, it doesn't take very long to see some weird stuff. And then when you see it more and more frequently, you realize that it's not just the wind to accept your bullets downrange. It's something else. So
you running your load pretty hot? What was your load?
No, 28-30.
Okay.
How long a barrel?
Yeah.
31.
31. I knew me and Jake were fucked the first stage.
Oh yeah? Oh yeah, the first stage did not go very well.
We actually got way better after that.
Oh, dude, we approached the first stage like we were kings of the fucking planet right there. Like we knew what the fuck we were doing. Roll out there, yeah. Wait, where'd it go? Where's the target? Ah!
Yeah, it was not. We got way better after that. Are you this is like we're hearing about this the whole first day. It was the people cleaning their barrels and the people not cleaning your barrel. Did you clean your barrel after the first day?
I did. Yep. I
What's-
scrubbed the shit out of it. I didn't the year that I won. I don't typically clean my barrel between day 1 and day 2 of 2-day matches. But with the Norma, I mean, that's a lot of powder. So in 2022, I pushed some patches, just tried to kind of knock the stuff down a little bit. And then I shot it 1,000 yards and made sure that everything was lining up and left it at that. But, I didn't really have anything to lose at the end of day 1. So I figured,
did you do that? Did you do that at the end of day 1 or the beginning of day 2?
End of day 1, yeah, we stayed a little bit late, and I scrubbed the check zero and scrubbed the barrel, and then check zero and velocity, right, and then scrubbed the barrel out and shot some rounds to foul it back up, and
got it.
Yeah, it didn't seem to help.
The first day we were definitely having some elevation issues, and we didn't clean ours. And the next day, they shot way better.
Everything was fine.
I don't know what the heck was going on. And sometimes it seems like some of that shit's a mystery. Have you seen that happen before?
What? Not cleaning your barrel and have it shoot good?
No, like we had elevation issues the first day, and we didn't have any the second day. I don't know if it's, and our guns had plenty of rounds on them. It wasn't like they were just getting broken in, but my gun especially was shooting about sometimes like 0.5 mil high for no apparent reason.
Yeah.
And then the next one would be in
Mine
there.
did a little bit of it the next day.
Yeah.
There was some times where I was holding the 10th or 2 over.
Yeah, and it's not like you're shooting in the mountains where you can have those updrafts. It looked just interesting. Like I said, I shoot all the time, but I don't shoot like that on a kind of it wasn't flat by any means, but it definitely wasn't mountainous. So it's a little different for me.
Yeah, I mean that's the trick, right? Is when those bullets start slowing down, and you've got some terrain and you've got some wind, trying to you got to get rid of all the vertical in your weapon system, so that when you see vertical that it's coming from downrange.
Yeah.
And
So you don't try to chase it.
you can make a correction on that, right? So when I start getting any sort of elevation, um, I've got to believe it, right? And if it's not coming from external sources, then my little brain gets confused real quick. Things go downhill in a hurry.
Yes, exactly. That's the thing. And we're shooting fucking 28-pound rifles. They're really not. If it moves very much, it's not like a big surprise.
Like
it's
if you
not,
had a bad pull or something, if it was a bad shot.
Yeah, like if the back end dropped, but like you instant feedback.
Like day 2 when the fucking rainstorm come in and we were at like the 2,300 yard range, and I looked through my scope and I didn't see anything like anywhere. I knew it was gonna be a bad shot because I couldn't see what to shoot at. Just said it.
We did have a moment like you had with the RO at the last stage on the mover stage.
Fuck, that was my moment.
Jake, I didn't have a moment. Jake had a moment because he didn't think they gave us ample enough time for each person to shoot because we had to wait for it to, hit the end and then start back again. So we timed out and
I did the math for that motherfucker. It wasn't his fault, right? This RO sitting there for fucking 20 groups straight over across 2 days. Probably after he shot it before that, he's been there for several days. But if you worked out the math on impact and then having to wait for the mover to cycle, when you added up all that time, if you had to let it cycle each time, there wasn't enough time to get the job done.
But he did say that the trump card on it.
The team before you finished just fine. You motherfucker.
So it's kind of a moot point at that point, but it was funny.
If somebody was able to shoot it and clear it, then it's doable. If fucking Ryan would have been on his A game, we would have done all right.
I didn't miss any of the ones I shot at on the mover.
You did do good on the mover, I remember.
Corson, do you have any tips for a team? You've shot some team matches. What would be, besides shooting together a lot beforehand, is there any tips you can give us?
Yeah, no, it's not just shooting together, communication, right? Communication's huge. And choosing how you're going to communicate corrections to one another, right? My buddy Nathan Dykstra and I we're driving over to Rock Lake tomorrow to go shoot a team match. We've been shooting team matches together for the last couple years, and that's the biggest part, is being able to communicate what you see in your scope and having your shit dialed too, right? You should be running the same dope. You should have everything lined up pretty well, but I think communication's the biggest part of that.
We did pretty good on communication.
Yeah,
so I would shoot first because he's better at calling wind, and then if the wind call was bad when I shot, he'd correct and I'd hit, and then he'd hit first shot most of the time.
Yeah, I just think
if you miss, you got to be able to give that information to your teammate and let him hit with your bad wind call, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But the fun part of shooting teams is that if you suck, you can always blame it on your buddy.
Jake sucks. That's why we lost.
I definitely suck. I just hope that this coming
we got
year,
that on recording.
I hope this coming fucking match we suck less.
Yeah, I think we'll suck less.
We didn't practice at all, dude. We barely finished doping the rifles in and getting the loads together.
Okay, we had barrels,
and then we went.
You've seen this, of course, before. We had barrels cut by Blaine on the same fucking day from the same fucking manufacturer, built one apart.
Same rod of steel.
Yeah. And they hated the same powder.
Yeah.
With a passion.
So one was 565, one was 1000. So we had to do our best to get them to have a good load, but be around the same velocity. It was kind of a bitch.
Just like in life, mine was easy to get along with. Jake's was a fucking pain in the ass.
Well, now we got that all figured out though. So now we had 4 to 32 NX8s last year. Now we're going to go with 7 to 35 attackers. What else?
We have to go into triple pulls.
Apparently we're going to get this tryptophanics rangefinder, so we make sure we get that shit right.
I don't even think they make that rangefinder anymore, do they, Corson?
Electronics.
I think you can buy one from Euro Optic.
Can you?
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, they're like $8 billion.
Is it? No, it's not.
Corson's a high ender. We can't compete with.
Well, that's how you fucking win, man.
You don't need a plurf to win. That's for damn sure.
No, I think like if you had a 10K or we have.
You also don't want to look up what them costs either.
I'm about to do that
you could kill birds if you shoot them in the eye with it. Drop them out of the sky. How many, like when you go to your comps, either PRS or like NRL, how many rounds do you want down that barrel? I know you guys run on the blade sometimes where you're putting on a barrel and trying to make it work right before, but what's the minimum you will go to a comp with?
So usually, I've always wanted to have 100, 150 rounds down the barrel, until the national finale 2 years ago. I went to the range to check my load one last time with 200 rounds on the gun, and it sped up. So,
Corson, is this your fucking $13,000 rangefinder I'm staring at Euro Optic right here? 13,241.55?
well, that one's fancier than mine. That one has Bluetooth. It'll tell you your dope and stuff.
I said 8 billion. I wasn't far.
$13,000 here.
I fucking said $8 billion. It wasn't far off.
God damn. That's impressive, Corson. I guess you love what you do.
Yeah, you don't need one of those.
Yeah. I know I don't, because I'm going to borrow yours.
You should. You should. You should.
Are you shooting the match this year?
No.
No? How
No.
come?
The Lead Farm national match. The Munns brothers put on a fantastic PRS national match. That's about 5 hours from my house.
Nice.
So I'm going to do that this year.
$13,000.
Oh, hey, and that spotter's like $4 or $5 grand. So he's got 20 grand in 2 pieces of product.
Yeah. Not to mention the rifle.
Yeah, a rifle.
10 G's worth of rifle.
You know what he needs? You need an action sponsor.
I'm not gonna, I can't let my wife listen to this now.
Oh,
dude.
shit.
I already told Tandy.
I
don't
said
fucking
it was
listen.
1,300. It was 1,300.
1,300.
Correction.
And the spotter was 850.
That's right. We'll just remove zeros. Keep it on the real.
Yeah. Well, I think we covered most of that stuff. Are you what are you packing that shit around with at the match?
What do you mean?
What kind of backpack?
All your gear. You pack it in the little cart, or you have a backpack?
No, I Kafaru 357 Magnum is what I'm running. I got 2 of them. I blew the seams out of the first one, so I had to send it back, and they fixed it for me. So now I just rotate them out.
Nice.
Do you got like that old man balls rifle hanger system?
Oh, Sky's shit. Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I remember we had to hump it that mile because the fucking truck broke down there to take us to the next batch of
That's too muddy.
stages. Yeah, it was all muddy, fucked up.
Yeah.
Ryan about died on that hike.
That stuff, I usually just hang for years. I just hung my bipod over my shoulder, and he came out with that stuff, and I'm thinking, man, what do I need this thing for? And then I got one, and now every rifle's got it, every backpack's got it. Those things are, they're top notch.
Nice.
I just fucking said, Mason.
We had a caddy, my son.
Yeah.
He was rolling shit everywhere for us. He works well under pressure.
Yeah, he does.
That's because he's been pressured his whole fucking life.
Yeah. But those little things are pretty sweet. How you slap them on there. Corson has.
So we still need to get a tripod. How
Yep.
about the plate that you're mounting everything to on top of the tripod?
That's made by RRS. I think you can buy the whole thing. I forget what they call it. I think you can buy it. It's just got an Arca rail on one side for your spotter or binos, and then it's got a little mini ball head on the other side for your rangefinder.
Shit, with that tripod, he's into it like 25 grand.
Yeah. I seen that. A lot of people had those 2 vets ones too, huh? Those do
Yeah.
pretty good.
I've never messed with. Oh, I have messed with one, but it wasn't nothing like the RSS one. Really right stuff. Well, should we get into this action?
Well, you got any other tips, tricks, or trade? Let's say there's a brand new guy who's going to shoot the Night Force ELR for the first time. What does he have to have with him to have a chance to win?
And whatever cartridge you're going to shoot, just go shoot it a lot. I mean, that's it. Go do your homework. I mean, it's the same thing if somebody asks you, what's the best cartridge to hunt with, right? Well, it's not go grab a new shiny one and put 20 rounds down it, and then it's one that you got a bunch of time down. So you got to have confidence in your gear. You don't need an expensive rangefinder.
1,300.
you don't you don't need a. Yeah, I mean, I this that last year. I mean, I couldn't tell you whether I'd rather have my spotter or my 15 power binos. I mean, the 15s work just as good. The only difference is they don't have a reticle. I mean, so you can get by with a good pair of binos just fine.
And what do you
but
like? That's a good question. What do you need that reticle for?
I like to use it to measure the width of targets. Right. So I know how much budget I have for my shitty wind call. If I've got a mill wide target, then I've got a little bit of fudge factory there, right?
That's why I like shooting at elk.
Big target.
I think that's one thing that makes the Night Force match different than anything else. I guess is these ELR matches that I guess they're not even real ELR matches. They're going to go out to 2,000 yards. We went out to 2,500 once, but they're moderately large targets. You start at 1,000, you go out. Well, the Night Force match, he's got some targets that are far out there, but they're typically pretty big. But he's also got some targets at 700, 800, 900 yards that are really small, right? So in a perfect world, you want to have a caliber that will reach, that won't fall apart at a mile, but will still drive tacks at 700, 800 yards, right? There's some really small targets that are in that range. So that's what I think makes that match different than any of the other stuff out there, and that's why I like it. That's why I think it's a good time. I mean, you got to have a good shooting gun for the close stuff, but you got to have a big enough caliber, heavy enough bullet to hit the far stuff. So
yeah, and there's like not a cookie cutter approach to it, because you do have some really, really big targets, but they are really, really far and it's hard to see splash. And then you do have some of those, I don't know, those little things where they're like Raptors, or I don't know what they were, but they were at like 930. And then you have the ones that are up there. There's no background behind them. So you either got to spray and pray or shoot at the post at the beginning to see what your wind's doing. So it's like it really tests all of your shooting ability. That's what I liked about it. Because you say, oh, it's a belly shooting thing, it should be simple. Well, there's nothing really fucking simple about it.
Yeah, you try to lay down on your belly and try to watch trace at 700 yards with a 300 norm. It's a skyline target.
Yeah,
it's not super easy.
No, that's what I liked about it. I said, oh man, I'm going to shoot a 25-pound rifle. Man, this is going to be easy. Well, Jake fucked that up the first stage.
All right, we'll be better next year. This year.
We're going to be fantastic this year.
Shoot-Hun's doing like the
Lego rifles.
Oh yeah. 7 PRC 198 tip.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yep.
The 30-inch barrels.
Beautiful. One sitting here. It's beautifully ugly.
That's correct. My wife tried to say, "You guys going to repaint those for this season?" Fuck no.
Nope.
Full rainbow.
Now they're a little distressed.
You look good, you don't shoot good.
That's right. That's right. Little clown guns. Well,
yeah. So that was kind of the first part, Corson Night Force ELR stuff, and then how about the? So Unknown recently took you on as a sponsored shooter with Bat Machine. You're running that new Bat Hammerhead action. You seem to be doing pretty well this season. What are your thoughts on it so far?
I like it a lot. I don't really change my gear a whole heck of a lot. So moving to a new action was, I was a little bit nervous with it, but
it was very last minute too.
Yeah, it really was. I wasn't really expecting to do that, but when Bat Machine wants you to run one of their actions, you don't say no to something like that. So a pretty cool opportunity. Bruce and Daryl have been awesome to work with, and yeah, man. I mean, I've been running the same action for about 6 years, so I thought that it was going to take some time to get used to. It really didn't. I've been wanting to do like a short stroke. I shoot dasher and PRS, right? So I've been wanting to do a short stroke bolt stop for a couple years, and the first thing that you guys told me about the action was that that it's an option, right? So those guys had already thought of that, and I thought that was pretty cool. And I didn't really know what to think about the 75-degree bolt throw. Um, um, I didn't really think that it would be as much of an advantage as it's turned out to be for me. Is what I've found is well, I took it out to the mountains and I shot it back to back with my old stuff, and I'm a pretty slow shooter as it is, so I time out a lot, and any advantage in the speed department I can get is good. And my practice times were faster, not a lot faster, but a little bit faster. So that was kind of interesting. And then the other thing I figured out was that just the difference between the 75-degree and the short stroke um, keeps me from having to move my shoulder when I run the bolt. So I shoulder my rifle kind of more towards the center of my chest. But if I'm having to run a 90-degree bolt up and back, I'm using my wrist and my elbow and my shoulder. That's supporting the rifle. So by minimizing that movement, that bad action, I'm able to I'm able to run the bolt with the dasher with just my wrist and elbow. So it's been, it's a small detail, but man, it's that's been pretty cool. I like that aspect of it a lot. And yeah, those guys put a lot of effort into the fire control group of that action. I typically, in the past, have done a lot of handwork to some of my actions to get them to feel exactly like I want. And the handoff between the trigger and the cocking piece is about as neutral as you can get. And it's been the same on I've got 4 of those actions now, and it's been exactly the same on every one. So every one of my actions feels the same. That's been cool. Headspace on every one of them has been, I mean, maybe a couple tenths difference, tenths of a thousandth. Within the error of my measurement. How's that? So that's been pretty sweet. Breaking in barrels and things. I used to have to. I'd keep. I'd number my barrels, and then I'd write down what serial number action they were for. When I take them off, put them back on, and now it just doesn't even matter anymore. If it's for one of my bad actions, I can put it on any of them, and so that
the thread timing worked out good too. Everything thread timed to the top and
spot on. And I wasn't expecting that, right? So I pulled the barrel off the other day just to practice with it and put it on a different gun, and it time dried up. So yeah, so that's
nice.
that's pretty sweet. They did they put a screw in the back of the mag well. That's pretty neat. I haven't had a whole lot of time with that yet, but just playing with it in the garage. I don't run a lot of AICS magazines. I usually run AW, and they put a kind of a double angle in the feed ramp that feeds really smooth. And then for AICS mags, to keep them from locking up, they put a bolt in the back that gives you a little bit of adjustment there too. But like I say, the one that I've been playing with the AICS mag it ran great right out of the box. So
nice.
Just little details that are kind of important, you know.
And so far, how have you placed at matches so far with that action?
So I got my actions in December, and I got 2 first place finishes in the regional series. I got 2 second place finishes. I got a 3rd place finish, and then I went down to Texas for a national match and finished 14th out of 200 and some shooters down there.
Yeah, that was a rough one though.
So it's been working pretty well for me.
Nice.
For something I was going to have to get used to. So.
Yeah. And I know you're having some, you were working with them on some springs in the fire control group, like different poundages and things like that. Did you guys end up figuring out exactly what you needed?
I've been playing with some of that stuff. Yeah, that's just the nerd in me, right? But yeah, I went as light as I could and then I ended up right back to where right back to where they were.
Okay. So you're not running a different poundage spring or anything than what it comes with right now.
I can run it. I can run a little bit lighter spring if I run federal primers.
Okay.
So I can run a little, but yeah, I wouldn't run BR Force with it. That's for sure.
Did you notice at all that the action had like a break-in period, or there were so many rounds you had through it where it finally just freed up, or anything like that?
Nope.
So not
Not
really
at
a
all.
break-in period at all.
Mm-mm.
All right.
Nope, not one bit.
What trigger are you running in there?
So that's another change that I recently made. I'm running the Bix and Andy Pro X trigger now. It definitely feels different. But
Was that at
but
Matt's suggestion? You already planned on that.
actually, it wasn't. I won one of their new Pro X triggers off the prize table down there in Texas, and I think that having a trigger that can be cleaned is pretty cool. And like I say, I've only got a few hundred rounds down the Pro X. I'm going to run it at the match this weekend. But any trigger manufacturer I've ever heard of has had triggers go down, right? And I've had pretty good luck, but I don't think that running your trigger until you have a problem is a good solution. So because usually that can be pretty costly if you're traveling far distances to shoot matches or hunting for that matter, right?
Oh yeah.
So just having the ability to pull apart the trigger, clean it out, and have that confidence that that my stuff's good to go was worth the change for me. And trigger's pretty sweet though too. I mean it's growing on.
Still single stage.
Yep.
Does
Yep.
the
Still single stage. I run about 14 ounces.
Bix and Andy has kind of a unique break in their design, the way that all the bearings and everything work inside. Do you actually feel a difference between how it breaks versus how your what we're using before Trigger Tech?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the part that's kind of hard for me to get used to. Right. The Trigger Tech feels like that there's that snap there when you break the trigger. And this is definitely a smoother feeling. I like it better, but I just have to get used to it as well.
They have different shoes available on that one.
Oh,
trigger
yeah.
shoes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. You can. Yep. Yeah. You can buy it in all sorts of different.
Yeah, I think before they don't actually sell the trigger with all the different shoes. You kind of buy the shoe you want after the fact and put that shoe on. We carry triggers here. We don't have that the X here. We might be bringing that in now.
They expensive?
I imagine they're probably a few $100, huh?
Yeah, I think they're $315. I didn't even know that they existed. I looked on Bix and Andy's website and I'm seeing $500 triggers, and then I multiply that times the amount of rifles that I got to swap over to have everything run the same. I kind of got sticker shock a little bit, but these Pro X triggers, I mean, they're pretty much right there with any of the other ones, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're not talking hundreds, we're talking, maybe $20-$30 difference. And that's just being able to clean it out, right? And knowing that I don't have any dirt in my trigger, I don't have something that's gonna end my match, is worthwhile. And like I say, I think it's growing on me. I'm liking the feel anyways. It's a smoother break. So.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're super happy that you come on. I know there was a lot of last minute changes we did to feed ramp design, things like this, even adding that screw for the ASCS mags. All that was because of Corson, kind of last minute with Bat Machine. And I think the action definitely came out better because of you. So I think, yeah.
Don't miss.
Been glad to have you on.
Well, I appreciate it. I mean, I working with Bruce and Daryl is pretty darn cool, man. I mean, what they've been making actions for probably damn near 30 years now. I just know how I like my stuff to feel. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And any time I bring up something, they had 3 different solutions for it. Right. These guys have been doing it for so long. It's, that's their thing. And it's pretty cool to be learning from them and get the opportunity to shoot those actions for sure.
Oh yeah,
They're like low key mad scientists.
they are. They definitely have their way.
Yes,
Yes,
they do. The Thom way.
the thumb way. Nice.
Will we miss anything? Anything else?
Anything you want to throw in there, Corson?
Oh well, I gotta thank Laura. She's my better half, and
Nice.
she lets me travel all over the place and holds down the fort. My gunsmith John Mills, Buffalo Creek Precision. You know, at the beginning of the new year, when I tell him that I need 8 new barrels chambered up, you know, he's there to support me. So
Especially when it's a new thread pattern because of a new action.
well, he's been shooting. He loves bad actions.
Yeah.
So he's a bench rest competitor,
Oh yeah.
and he's been shooting bad actions already. So he
In
was,
fact,
he was kind of
when we
excited
went to bat, you were picking an order of actions up for him to take back.
for him.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I think he was kind of stoked on the transition anyways, but he bends over backwards to make sure that my stuff's shooting good. And that's huge for me. Collis has been super supportive. You know, changing gear around before you go to a match is never a good idea. So usually my rifles stay set up. So that's good. And, Masterpiece Arms, Benchmark barrels, and now Bix and Andy triggers too. So
Nice.
Fantastic.
Well, cool. We're glad to have you on. Appreciate you coming on and spending your time with us.
Yeah. It's always interesting to learn different things from good shooters. Except for Jake. He's not a good shooter.
All right, of course, appreciate you. Thank you, sir.
thanks, fellas.
All right. See ya.
Thanks for listening.